So today we've got a Keurig. It originally came to me through Buy Nothing. The owner was asking for a coffee maker because theirs just died. I asked her what was wrong with it. She said it won't brew. Sounds like it's trying to take some water in, brew water out, but then nothing happens. And I did put white cider through from time to time, so I don't think it's blockage like that, but I'm not sure. It just randomly stopped working one day. That's what we know about. That's what we know about this. I haven't looked at it yet. I just want to share that with you. They did. She did tell me that they took it apart and kind of looked at it before they decided that they couldn't fix it. So there's some screws loose and it's partially disassembled, and we'll have to figure out how to put it together before we can test it. Let's see. It looks like a serial number. If I had to guess, that first part, that 65, means it's a Keurig 65 Classic. Right now we don't need to know the model. What we need to know is where those screws go. So let's just take a look at the coffee maker as a whole. Drip tray, okay. So it looks like it has a cracked tank with a little bit of Scotch tape on it. We'll see if we can do better with that a little later. Look at the water reservoir in a little bit. Just generally, I'm just going to look right down in the hole there to see if there's see if we can see anything interesting. It is moving up and down, and that's really what I wanted to see. I just want to make sure that it'll let water out when we try to do that. Let's see if we can figure out where some of those screws go. Bottom here, or which ones we actually have to put back on. We really just want to test it. So we know that there were 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5, yeah, screws, and in the bag we have, well, there's 5 screws, and there are 4 more screws here. So 4 screws go someplace. We'll take a look. Let's see. Looks like 2 screws are going to go in here to hold that, and that's good. We want that. I'm going to put the 2 screws in here, at least, so that we can test it. We'll kind of go from there. Got my towel on the bench today. My coffee makers have been known to spit all over me, so I'm prepared. Based on how thick this is, I'm going to think maybe the larger screws go in there. But let's try the smaller ones first, because we can always put in the larger ones later. But not the other way around. So if we put the large ones in, then the small, and we force them in there, then the small ones won't work. So we'll start with the little ones. Based on the resistance I'm getting from putting little screws in the hole there, I'm thinking that's where they go. Yep, nice bite. Definitely. Okay. All put a couple screws in the bottom here just so I don't have to fight with it. All right. I'm going to go get myself half a jug of water. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I've got about a half a jug of water. And when I set this down, I saw a little bit of bubbling. And that's a good thing. That says that the valve that lets the water out is working. So, let's plug this in and see what it does. Be good if I turned on the electricity. All right. That sound we hear is a boiler. Here there's a reservoir full of water. Must be, because I didn't just fill it. And it certainly sounds like boiling water. Taking a look at the needle to make sure that it's clear. It appears clear. Cup, just in case it decides to start spitting hot water all over the place. All right. So the reservoir or the boiler, the water in there is now heated up, and must be some sort of thermostat in there that tells the brains that it's ready to cycle on and off. I'm going to open this to make it think I put a capsule in there. Now it's prompting me to press a button. I'm going to press medium and see what change is made. Okay. So a pump was running. That looks like the heater is on. But that pump only ran for a second. Okay. So one of the things I've heard is that these can get airlocked. I have heard that if you use a turkey baster to prime this, that sometimes that'll help. So I'm going to put my turkey baster there we go, and kind of get it in the middle of the hole, and then Give it a couple of good squeezes. All right, did that. Nothing happened. Well, that didn't help a whole lot. I see some stuff floating around in the water that maybe wasn't in there before. On. Boiler comes on. It's ready to brew. Close it up. It thinks it's loaded. Give me a medium, please. Okay, good. So, what you couldn't necessarily see there was we're now getting water out of this overflow back here. So let me just move this up a little bit. Sorry about that. So there's an overflow back here, and when the pump sees that there's too much pressure going into the tank, it pushes water, it trips a little valve or something in the solenoid. It pushes the water back here. So we weren't getting any of that before, and it also just ran longer than it has up till now. So I'm just going to do this again. Turn it off, turn it back on. Turn the machine on. I believe it's loaded. Thinks it's loaded. And this time I'm going to cover up the overflow. Alright. So, the good news is we're making progress of some sort. Something's coming out of it. And the tank was empty, and it's possible that those grounds were all up in the up where the capsule goes too. So I can't say that isn't the case. I didn't go through and clean that all out. It's got what could be some residual coffee in there. So, but it doesn't think it finished the cycle. I'm going to start it again. And do the same thing. See if it's puddling water here. And it is not. Okay, that's a good thing. It's always good to check. Looks like it's the inside holds water. So I'm gonna go dump these grounds and get a little more water, maybe dump out what's in there and clean it up, and I'll be right back. Alright, apparently there's a secret descale menu associated with these that allows you to run a continued stream of water through the unit. And I'm going to try to activate that now. This is, I found it on the internet, somebody named Zachery, that's all his website says, his YouTube channel says. So we'll see if I can do the same key presses that he did. So we're in the off position, and we're going to do this 1, 2, 3, and we're in a ready mode. Then once again to brew, once again to clock, once again and again. Again, now it's to descale, and then this time, there we go. So we're here, now I'm going to press and hold medium, and tap menu small. Okay. And I stopped. So what happened was it attempted to push water out of here, but it couldn't, so it came out of the overflow. And then when I went in to empty the tank mode, it tried to empty the tank, but it couldn't. So that tells me I've got a clog somewhere in the head up here. So I'm gonna pursue that. That's my. Well, thanks to Zachery for that cool way to be able to turn this thing back on. So. Well, it takes a good 1,200 watts to 1,300 watts, kind of like a hairdryer, to heat up once it's been unplugged. And now that the nozzle's clean, and we've cleaned whatever blockage there may have been in the back at the pump, we'll make ourselves a large cup of hot water. So what just happened there after it filled the cup was you heard the pump running to refill the hot water reservoir inside the unit. Notice that the 1200 watts is being drawn again to heat that water that was just pulled in there. So the water to make the cup of coffee is actually in here already, and once you've made the cup of coffee, it pulls a new supply of water from the tank. So to recap what we did, originally we used a turkey baster on the input from the water reservoir to clear any obstructions that were in the supply line. It looked like we had some things floating around in the bucket that weren't there before we started the process, so that might have been good. Also, it extended the amount of time that the unit ran. It would shut off almost immediately when we started, and after we did the flushing with the turkey baster, it would run for 30, 40 seconds before it would shut off, so we knew we were making some progress. The next thing we did was we used Zachery's descaling method, and we went into the menu and actually attempted to run water directly from the tank, from the reservoir into a cup, and that wouldn't work. That's how we knew there was an obstruction in the head. We tried to empty the tank. That also wouldn't work. Again, we knew there was now an obstruction in the head. Hard to say whether that was there in the beginning, but then the last thing we did was take a good old-fashioned paperclip and clean the obstruction out of the nozzle, and that was the final thing that let water flow back into the cup. So having gone through that process, this is considered to be fixed, and I will reach back out to the original owner to see how they'd like to proceed, whether they want it back or they want to give it to somebody else. So thanks for playing, and we'll see you next time.